How about your relationship with God? We've been asking you some very direct questions in our study of Acts. Do you trust that the God of the universe is working his will in your life? It's an easy yes. Is it true? Missional work begins with trusting God's word. If you are going to follow God, if you're going to walk with him into the community in which he's called you, remember we covered last week, you are uniquely qualified to reach that community because he has you there. If you're going to follow him there, that missional work begins with actually trusting that what he said is true. In our life, we're involved in ministry together. God's roster is who's in this room right now. Look around. You know who God's called you to walk with? The people that you're walking with. We can't sit there and think we want better or we want something different. God's roster is who's here. God's direction for you may be rejection by those around you. This is important. Don't miss this. God's direction for your life, to have that missional trust, to go into the community in which he called you, may involve rejection by those he's called you to interact with. Bibles offer an opportunity to speak into the lives of those characters. So you're walking in this world, you're out in your community, you're being missional, you're focused on what God has called you to do, and then a trial pops up. Maybe that trial involves just you and your family, maybe it doesn't. Maybe it involves your business. Maybe it involves the ones you work with. And then when that trial pops up, guess who's watching? And maybe they're more likely to listen now. Trust from the world doesn't come without time invested in the world. Don't expect someone that you've invested no time in to necessarily buy into what God has called you to talk to them about. How often does a Christian do this? Where we're very quick to offer advice, but we don't live life with people. And God, because he knows when his people need encouragement, he offers it from places that sometimes we don't even see coming. Imagine being at the end of your rope. I think we've all been there from time to time. And just out of the blue, somebody offers a hug. Someone calls you. Someone texts you. Someone says praying for you. And you had no idea that was happening. But just that encouragement comes. And it's because that the God of the universe knows. Think in your own life. Have you ever had that moment when you've been so focused on following what God has called you to do that a crazy circumstance comes out of left field and you don't let it affect you because you know what? That doesn't fit into what God has called me to do. It's real, and my hand is bit and I'm bleeding, but that's not the point. That's just another circumstance of living in a fallen world. That's just yet another crazy situation. But I'm not going to let that divert my attention from what God has called me to do. God will allow circumstances in your life, do not miss this. God will allow circumstances into your life, and sometimes those circumstances aren't about you, even though they involve you. God will allow those circumstances for the audience. Is that God's mission includes the people along the way. I love this. Paul's thinking, he's called me to go to Caesar. I'm going to Caesar, I'm going to Rome, but then he keeps with these diversions and these detours that happen. And guess what's all around these detours and diversions? People. Because God's gospel is about people. God's encouragement to you isn't just to endure what you're going through right now. It may be to prepare you for the next thing. He didn't stop. He wrote Ephesians, Philippians, Colossians, and Philemon at least while he was here. Did you hear that? Whole books of the Bible Paul wrote while on house arrest. Whatever chain you have, whatever you feel like is holding you back, is not holding back kingdom work.